I'll be calling it a night here in a few minutes, but I wanted to kind of visit with Symone and have you visit with her a little bit before I head out. And she drove in this nasty weather in the rain, and she can attest the roadways are a little dicey.
Can't confirm there's flash flooding.
Yeah. And we start the evening off with a flash flood warning here for Little Rock in Pulaski County, Argenta area, downtown Little Rock, and that is until 1:30 in the morning. There's also the severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 1 o'clock. But I think for the most part, Symone, severe weather in terms of a tornado threat is over. I don't see it.
It's pretty low. I think at this point, heavy rain as we
heavy
continue
rain
through the evening.
Yeah. So tonight, she'll be answering questions, tracking storms. We've got storms, more storms, another area there in west central and western Arkansas that will be moving in. You got the heavy stuff here in Little Rock and the first batch moving out. So it's still a little active tonight. You know how folks are. They get a little bit storm weary and want to know what's happening. So I equate this, working in radio years ago, I was an overnight radio disc jockey. I spun records, we played the hits, and we had the phone calls. Hey, would you play XYZ for me? Here's a little secret you may not know about. But when you call a radio station and you ask them to play a request, they don't play the request. They can't. They're not allowed to. They have to follow this log, right? So you are tonight's disc jockey. You're spinning the hits. You're spinning the raindrops for everyone out there in Digital Plus land. Thank you for watching, by the way. Symone's going to take really good care of you. I don't anticipate that we're going to have to deal with tornado warnings tonight, but flash flooding is of concern, and it's a big concern. We've heard reports of roadways in Johnson County that have had water on them, flowing over them. Argenta here in Little Rock, North Little Rock, there's been some reports of some street flooding. And the rain has been falling at 2.5 inches per hour. Here's something heard from Neil Gladner, who's an old radio guy. A lot of you might have heard of that name. Neil is trapped over at the airport, trapped in a way that they've had lightning over there. Their plane was on the tarmac when it landed, and there's a rule that they can't let folks disembark without have to get the folks out on the tarmac to bring the plane in. Well, they haven't been able to do that yet. So there's some folks over at the Little Rock Airport. If your loved one is over there and they're trying to get home, that's what's going on. So that's that. And in terms of other things tonight, you know, till 1 o'clock in the morning, got that severe thunderstorm watch. Symone is going to hang out with you for a little while and make you feel all right. So if you have any questions for her, of course, we have our folks standing by on our digital platform to make sure that, well, you know what's going on in the world of weather. You ready?
Yeah. I got the Facebook pulled up, so as y'all have any questions, y'all can leave them under the comments of our Facebook stream, or you can text them in.
There we are.
Yeah, there we are. You can also text those in. Again, that number is 501-376-1111. I have all of that pulled up, so as I see your questions, I can answer them for you. In the meantime, Tom, what are your farewell words?
Well, I don't really have many of them. Just be careful on the roads. You know, hydroplaning. What surprises me is that people will try to drive as fast on wet roads as they do on dry pavement. Now, luckily, there's not a whole lot of folks out on the roadways tonight.
Our digital team says, I did not realize we're streaming on YouTube too. So if you're on the YouTube stream, you can leave comments there as well. So the easiest place to be seen if you have a comment, question, or concern is either that Facebook stream or the YouTube stream. Still stream us on THV11's, but you can leave those comments on those other two platforms.
That YouTube crowd is a wild crowd.
Oh, I
remember.
remember.
Having dealt with them before, they're up and they're ready to party tonight. So make it a big party for Symone. She's here to answer your questions tonight. She's going to be tracking storms and heavy rain. There's another batch in western Arkansas that may impact us in central Arkansas, and the rain could fall very heavy at times. I'm going to step into the weather office, take a little break. You know, I'm an old guy. I got to get off my feet on occasion. It's been a fairly long night, and I'll check back in here in a few before I leave. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give it up to Symone Thomas for your weather this evening, and I'm just going to exit stage left. Symone, there you go. Have a good time.
All right. Tom, they said turn off your mic.
I heard him.
If y'all don't mind, I'm taking a sip of my little energy drink to make sure you know, we're up and ready for whatever the storms bring us. So we are already receiving a couple of comments over on the Facebook, people asking about different locations. So we're gonna pause this radar to live radar what's happening. First question I see, what's going on over in Hot Springs right now? It looks like in Garland County, you got a little bit of a lull in the rain. Not much happening in the city of Hot Springs, but if you see off to your west, impacting southern portions of Montgomery County, south of Mount Ida, you got some storms going over to your west. As Tom mentioned not too long ago, this next complex of storms impacting some of southeastern Oklahoma, if those can hold together as they move east, some of west central Arkansas might see some impacts from that. So right now in Hot Springs, for you, things are probably quiet. Again, not as much of a concern for a tornado threat as we continue through the evening, but if you do get another storm, it could be capable of producing some heavy downpours. Somebody asked about Cabot. Can you sleep in Cabot? Well, yeah, you can sleep in Cabot right now. You've got some light to moderate rain falling. The storm that is really producing those heavy downpours is impacting kind of southern portions of Pulaski County at this point. So Cabot and northern Lonoke County, you got some pretty, like I say, light to intermediate rainfall falling. Give you some nice sleep noises to go to sleep to. And just make sure you leave that ringer on, so if another warning at any point is issued, that can help wake you up. But again, not as heavy as of a concern as we continue later into the evening. Let's see, check over with our YouTube to see about any questions over here. Folks asking about Clarendon, similar story for the folks in Cabot, light to moderate rainfall falling right now. Not a whole lot of warnings giving us any rowdy conditions, but still, you know, following along with you because we do still have some active watches in effect. If you all can give me 1 second to read these updates from the National Weather Service that we have, I'm going to play this 1 hour loop to just get up to speed with the updates they've given in the last couple minutes since we've started this stream. Okay, so National Weather Service, I'm going to tell you what the National Weather Service is saying while we play this, because this will help give you a visual. So the outflow boundary that we've been seeing a lot of these storms triggered kind of along and ahead of, that boundary has moved south near that Pine Bluff to Arkadelphia line. So if you kind of see where that cutoff is of those storms in central Arkansas, but then in the southeastern Arkansas, things are quiet. That kind of gives you a visual of where that outflow boundary is. Now the cold front that this activity is still happening ahead of, that's what's draped over in Oklahoma, and why we have these couple of severe thunderstorm warnings off to our west. So as we continue overnight into your Wednesday morning, those mechanisms will continue pushing south and east, but the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center are kind of echoing the sentiment of, through the rest of the evening, the main threat that we'll be watching for will be the flash flooding. Now, at this moment, we do still have our severe thunderstorm watch in effect for central Arkansas into west central Arkansas, kind of following along that I-30 corridor. So Pulaski, Saline, Garland County, down into Hot Spring, Clark County. Again, just along that, along those counties along that I-30 corridor, there is still that severe thunderstorm watch. But it looks like our main hazard through the rest of the evening is going to be that concern for flash flooding. We do have some flood watches in effect through the evening as well, so we can pull that up. The map is taking a second to load. Here's a look at that flood watches for a good chunk of the state. Now, those areas that are still under the severe thunderstorm watch in the southwestern Arkansas might not necessarily be under this flooding watch, but Pulaski County, the Little Rock Metro, Lonoke County where Cabot is, White County where Searcy is, Garland County, Hot Springs, kind of listing off some of those cities where we know we have more people. You are still under that flash flood watch that is in effect through Wednesday afternoon. Those counties you see shaded in the red along that I-40 corridor in the Arkansas River Valley are some active flash flood warnings we have. We do still have the active flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro. I'm going to take this back to the radar to actually zoom in specifically on some counties to give you a little bit more information on the active flash flood warnings we have in effect right now. So 1 second for these to update. So we're going to put this on live, and we'll just start with the Little Rock Metro because of course that's where we have the most people this evening. So this is in effect through 1:30 a.m. Now, the heavy storm that triggered them issuing this morning, you see has moved off to our south and east, but this morning will stay in effect until 1:30 because we could just continue to see some rain between now and then. Radar has estimated between 1.5 to 2 inches. Let's actually pull up those radar estimates for the past 3 hours across this area. This is why they've issued that flash flood warning, because you see this big bullseye of kind of orange that ombres into a red as you close in towards, where it says Little Rock. That's indicative of 1.5 to 2 inches of rainfall that has fallen over the past 3 hours. And even though at this moment we don't have necessarily heavy rain falling, we've already seen multiple inches of rain in the past couple hours. Any more rain in those overly saturated areas could continue to produce some flooding concerns. Moving up I-40, getting kind of closer to our neighbors in northwest Arkansas. This is not necessarily in our coverage area. We share that responsibility of Johnson County, some of Polk County with our neighbors in northwest Arkansas. That flash flood warning is in effect until midnight. And again, radar estimates a little farther to our northwest over the past couple hours are indicating a little bit closer to 3/4 of an inch. These darker blues, these pockets of orange may be closer to an inch. A little bit further south though, getting into portions of Yale County, we're seeing more of that orange, so closer to 1 inch and 1.5 inches. And then again, closing in on the Little Rock Metro, even portions of Garland and Saline County, we're seeing more of that orange. We're seeing that across northern portions of Lonoke County into White County as well, where you see those oranges and even almost some of that reds. Again, that's closer to 1.5 and 2 inches. Right now, though, it looks like the big winner this evening so far over the past couple hours has been Polk County, where this is turning into more of a maroon, almost a deeper shade of red just south of the city of Mena. That's 2 to almost 3 inches. That's estimated to have fallen over the past 3 hours. So as you see, the main bulk of that rain accumulation over the past couple hours has been over that central third of the state, if you're kind of following along with this visual. So let's put this back on our radar loop. I'm going to check on all of our platforms to see if anybody has asked any questions while I've kind of just been going through that explanation. So if you hear me quiet for a second, that's just because I'm reading your comments. Thank y'all for joining us, whether you're joining us on THV11's, on Facebook, on YouTube, any of our platforms where you can find the stream. We thank y'all for staying up with us. Somebody said, how is the Mayflower area doing? So, similar story for our friends in Hot Springs that we checked in with a second ago. No heavy rain falling right now. Honestly, you might be seeing a break in the rain near Mayflower. Some of the heaviest rain off to your south and east, but we do have more rain off to your north and west, as well as off to our west over into Oklahoma. That's kind of why we're staying on through the evening, because there is room for more rain to come towards your neighborhood. As far as if it's going to be a concern of a tornado, that concern is a little bit lower, but there will still be a flooding concern through the overnight hours. I hope that answers your question. Let's see about any other questions. Somebody asks, will this stuff in Fort Smith hit Conway? So this storm is moving, let's see, about east, southeast. Trying to play this loop for you. Yeah, about east, southeast. So let's put a track on this. Again, they're asking about these storms near Fort Smith, so let's see. Give me 1 second to get a little bit more information on how fast that storm is moving so we can draw a storm track on it. About 35 miles an hour. Again, if y'all are just not joining us, thank y'all for following along with us through this overnight hours. If you are confused as to what's happening because you just joined in, somebody asked if the stronger storms out here near Fort Smith will impact the Conway area at any point. Now, these storms are kind of moving about east, maybe east southeast at about 35 miles an hour. Just taking this out a bit, looks like at best between now and the next hour and a half, it will close in on areas like Shoal Creek and Knoxville. It would, if it's going to impact the Conway area at all, it'll be well after midnight that happens. But again, just kind of looking at the storm motion, I think at best it might pass just south of Conway if those storms continue moving to the east. Not sure why. Okay, play that loop back for you all. There we go. So that's with these storms moving kind of east southeast, any impacts to southern Faulkner County will be well after midnight. But I think these storms are just gonna move kind of south of the Conway area. Questions about Sheridan and Valonia. Make our way back towards Central Arkansas. I think similar story for Valonia. Things are quiet right now. This swath of light rain that's in the Conway area may impact you all within the next half hour to an hour. For our neighbors closer towards excuse me, I'm looking at another comment. Sorry, y'all. I think similar situation for our neighbors over in Grant County, kind of closer to Sheridan. You do have kind of the southern tail end of this storm that was responsible for the flash flood warning in the Little Rock Metro, kind of moving towards your neighborhood. But I think the main impact, I'm looking towards England. Sheridan right now, similar story, quiet, but along 270 you do have a little bit of a stronger storm. It doesn't have a lightning signature with it, so I'm not going to assume that it's terribly strong, but again, heavy downpours are possible. Looking to see if anybody has also texted us in any questions. Is Lonoke in the clear? So right now in Lonoke, you might be seeing some intermediate to heavy rainfall. It doesn't look like the storm that's over you is even strong, because the little bit of lightning is to your southwest, kind of where Highway 70 and Highway 15 intersect. I do think at best this might produce a little bit of heavy rainfall. Let's see. Okay, I think I've answered questions for the cities that have been mentioned on our platform so far. So somebody's asking, how long is the stream going to be? Just really until the storm that produced our flash flood warning, I say, gets closer towards Arkansas County. Depending on what these storms in the River Valley do as they move into central Arkansas, we might keep going, because right now there's not a concern for severe weather in regards to a tornado, but heavy rain is still a possibility. I know some people might be having to travel late nights for work. If you're somebody that's on third shift, you know, you're either getting ready to come home or you're getting ready to go to work, because we do have some flash flood warnings and it's dark outside. That's going to be harder to see if you're coming up on flood water. So we want to make sure, you know, with whatever your goings and comings are through the next couple hours, you have the information you need to stay safe, because, you know, we talk about the dangers of these overnight storms pretty often with tornadoes, and how if you're asleep, that could be a disruption and you might be a little disoriented in regards to getting to your severe weather safe space. But we do have people, you know, those nurses, maybe those truck drivers, people that have to be on the roads this late. It's a little bit harder to see standing water when it's pitch black outside than it is in the daytime. So that's why we're just staying on a little bit tonight, to make sure everybody, like, again, is staying safe. We're going to check to see if the National Weather Service has thrown us a line with any more information. In the meantime, again, thank y'all if you are on the stream with us for hanging out. It's a Tuesday night. I know it's a school night for a lot of us, so we appreciate your time. Let's see. So I'm getting asked the question in my ear, when is the rain expected to stop? So let's pull up one of our high resolution models to walk through when the rain is expected to end. 1 second to switch over those graphics. In the meantime, while I pull up those graphics, can we actually pull up Storm Track 11? I have the current power outages map pulled up. Thank y'all. So not a whole lot of power outages. At most, we see some of those yellows, which indicate about 10% of a county's population being impacted by power outages. Right now, it looks like Prairie County, the most impacted, over 500 customers without power. Garland County, over 700 people without power. To our south, Drew County, just under 400 people without power. Northeast Arkansas and the Arkansas River Valley dealing with some outages as well. Saline County, a few power outages. So hasn't been a whole lot of power outages, but there are some people out there that have been impacted again, because we've had some storms dumping some heavy rainfall move through the area. So, okay, can we bring it back to max 1? Thank you. This is our HER model. You hear us use this a lot, especially when we are kind of actively tracking active weather. So this is where it has the storms kind of currently, which I would say is pretty on par to what's happening. We still got the storms producing some of the heaviest rainfall across central Arkansas. It is a little bit behind as like this storm that is over the Little Rock Metro. It's a little bit farther to our southeast, but these models are never perfect. It just gives us an idea of the trend. So following the trends based off of this latest model run, this is 1 o'clock. Those storms that are impacting some of northwest Arkansas and the Arkansas River Valley are starting to move east. So overnight, kind of closing in on the 2-3 o'clock hour, that next wave of storms could be impacting the Little Rock Metro. I think around 3 o'clock, that's when meteorologist Tracy Bean will be coming in. I'm going to hang out with her for a little bit as they prepare for your morning news. So around 3 o'clock when she comes in, we could start to maybe see that next round of heavy rain in the Little Rock Metro. As we continue though, 3 o'clock into 4 o'clock, some of south central Arkansas, southeastern Arkansas. Can we take max 1 full again? Thank you. So 4 o'clock, that's when we're seeing more of those impacts into southeastern Arkansas. 6 to 7, so that morning rush hour as things are ramping up. Seeing what could be quieter conditions in the Little Rock Metro, but our neighbors closer to Pine Bluff, Monticello, down between Arkadelphia and Camden, kind of a little bit to our south, could be picking up on some of those storms that could produce some heavy downpours. We could still see a few showers and storms across the metro through the morning, but I think the heaviest axis of rain through the morning will stay to our south. By this point, we're looking at middle day, lunchtime Wednesday. Heaviest complex of storms still staying to our south, but we could still be seeing a few showers through that early afternoon in the Little Rock Metro, even as far north as Conway into Russellville, maybe some of southern Cleburne County picking up on some rainfall. We could see some of those storms start to creep slightly north of that I-40 line through the afternoon, as this complex of storms is kind of moving north and east out of the state. So through the afternoon, we could see another round of heavy rain. I think that's why the National Weather Service is going to keep that flood watch in effect through Wednesday afternoon. But by the time you're checking in with Tom and the crew tomorrow evening, this is the projection of, spotty showers and storms across the state. Tom and Nathan made this graphic earlier with a storm timeline as far as the storms producing severe weather, which is why we've issued the weather impact alert. It does look like areas primarily north of that I-40 line, your severe threat is over. It's just going to be a flooding concern and along that I-40 line getting into the metro, kind of that central most part of the state. You have until about morning, because again, we'll see another wave of storms that could produce some gusty winds, maybe some hail, even an isolated tornado through that 3 to 4 o'clock time frame, and then into southeastern Arkansas. You could see more of those impacts after the morning rush hour. So our friends in Searcy, Conway, up to Russellville, Clinton and Batesville, even up in Mountain Home, I think as you kind of wind down through the evening, your main threat will be some heavy rain leading to flooding. Again, there are a number of flood alerts in effect. We have some flood watches and flash flood warnings in effect. The flood watch that's in effect for a good chunk of the state will continue through tomorrow afternoon. Would not be surprised if they end up extending that maybe a bit, just based off of what we saw with that latest model run. We could still see some storms producing possibly some heavy rain into the afternoon. Let's put this back on our radar loop and see if we have any new questions. So this is the past hour loop. Again, if you're joining, we have this plan while I just catch up on if anybody has asked any new questions on any of the platforms that we're streaming. Again, we're streaming on THV11's. That app is available on all of your smart TV devices where you can have an app. We're also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. And as always, you can text questions in as well, but I'm just checking all of our places where people are able to ask questions to see if we have any new questions that I might have missed. All right, let's see what's happening. I will say, in my experience doing these streams, this YouTube crowd, you guys are pretty entertaining. Somebody asks, is this a normal time for a weather stream? We do weather streams when the weather is happening. So is this the time that we have a normally scheduled broadcast? No, but when there's active weather, and I mean, we obviously see a lot of this in the spring as well when we have those overnight bouts. We try to be here anytime it's necessary. That wasn't necessarily a weather question, but I just wanted to answer that for you all. That was for somebody on our YouTube. Neighbors in Arkadelphia asking how's it looking right now. Maybe light to moderate rain. You have what looks like could be some moderate rainfall coming out of northwestern Clark County that'll likely impact you over the next couple minutes. But again, overnight after midnight, these storms coming out of Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma, as they continue pushing east, you could see some of those impacts, but it will likely just be some heavy rain. Eastern Polk County near Bickford. So I think, if anything, these storms just to your west over the Oklahoma border could likely bring some impacts. If you've been following along with us for a few minutes now, there was a severe thunderstorm warning with this storm not too long ago. So it looks like it's lost some of its strength, probably still has a special weather statement tag, but you know, sometimes we see with these storms, they cycle up and down in strength. So this could possibly bring some impacts with the wind gust and the hail. That is also part of why we're still on right now. So we'll be following this again. It's still across the border, but you know, Polk County is one of those Oklahoma neighboring borders. Somebody asking about this storm near Sheridan. Doesn't look terribly strong. It has a little bit of lightning, likely just going to be a rainmaker. The National Weather Service hasn't mentioned anything about this. Hold on, you all. I'm getting some updates, so just give me a second to read it, please. All right, so we've had a few people asking how long we're gonna stay on the stream. I think we're gonna stay on the stream at least through the duration of the severe thunderstorm watch, which right now, I haven't gotten any indication that they are going to cancel it soon. So again, let me take you to that watch map. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect through 1 a.m. It does look like though, our main hazards through the evening will be the heavy rainfall, but for this southwestern part of the state, we have those storms coming out of Oklahoma that have had some severe thunderstorm warnings attached to them. Looking over at the National Weather Service office in Tulsa, because I think they have the responsibility of some of those counties that we neighbor. They've been issuing those warnings, those severe thunderstorm warnings for the wind gusts and the hail. As far as our severe risk, we do still have that level 2 out of 5 slight risk through 7 a.m. Let me bring up that map for you. you give me a second, it's loaded. Okay, here it goes. This is what's in effect through 7 a.m. So we do still have that slight tornado risk for areas kind of west of the Little Rock Metro, Polk County, Montgomery County, Garland, Saline, even some of Yale and Perry County, some of Faulkner County. So we're still kind of keeping an eye on that. That's not completely out of the question, but I think any severe thunderstorm warning that we get between now and 1 o'clock will mainly be for these winds. That's the column you see over to your right, but also heavy rain, the concern as well. So we have had a couple people ask how long we're going to stay on the stream. We're going to stay on the stream at the least until that severe thunderstorm warning is set to expire at 1. If we get to 1 and they say they are going to expand the watch, like the timing or the counties, we'll stay on then. If you weren't on earlier and you didn't hear me say, meteorologist Tracy Bean will be in at 3 to start getting ready for the morning show. Depending on what's happening around 3, because we just looked at some of that data together a second ago, we could be getting some more strong storms impacting central Arkansas around the 3 o'clock time frame. That will kind of determine as well how long we're going to stay on the stream. So for right now, the plan is 1. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay up with us until 1. If you do, that's great. Gives me somebody to talk to in the comments. But it looks like right now, our only active warnings are flash flood warnings. Let's see if we have any more questions. This isn't necessarily a weather question, but somebody asked, where is Jimmy Kimmel? My friend, I think you're looking for ABC. And also, we're not on live linear television right now. We're just streaming on our THV11's app, Facebook, and YouTube to bring you these weather updates. So whatever is airing on your linear CBS, we aren't interrupting that right now. People are asking about Whitehall, so let's pause this loop so it's not distracting. Look at what's happening towards Whitehall. This storm producing a little bit of lightning, could be some heavy downpours just to your north, kind of along that highway 365, but storm's kind of moving to your east. So I don't think that storm will necessarily graze you all that much. Looks like that'll just stay off to your north, but you do have a storm off to your neighboring county that'll probably push south of you, this storm coming out of Sheridan. Somebody asks, how does it look in Perryville? Let's go up to Perryville. So you have this little storm just off to your west near the Yale and Perry County border, so Danville through Ola, Casa, maybe picking up on some intermediate to heavy rain, maybe hearing a little bit of thunder and lightning. This storm, as it continues pushing kind of east-southeast, some of it might clip you, but I think the strongest part that has this shading of red, some of that lightning, is going to clip south of you. So pause that to show you what I mean. With this track, so it'll kind of clip just south of you in Perryville. Let's see, hold on. Take this off to answer questions for the next city that we have, which is Glen Rose. So our neighbors in Glen Rose have questions, which, if I'm not mistaken, Glen Rose is in Hot Spring County. Right now, things are pretty chill across Hot Spring County. off to southwestern Hot Spring County, some intermediate rainfall kind of falling near that Hot Spring and Clark County border. Otherwise, if you're farther north and east in Hot Spring County, you have a little bit of a break from the rain. But again, we do have some storms still in southeastern Oklahoma as they push east southeast, could bring some impacts maybe along that Hot Spring Clark County border. See who else has some questions. Jacksonville. So Jacksonville right now, things are probably quiet for you. That heavy rain that we saw earlier off to our southeast kind of impacting southern portions of Lonoke County, northern portions of Jefferson County. But again, these storms over in the Arkansas River Valley could bring some impacts to some of Pulaski County. Whether or not it's north enough in Pulaski County to impact Jacksonville is to be determined, but I definitely think closer to Sherwood and Little Rock may see some of these impacts from this storm kind of near this Yale and Perry County border. I think I'm caught up on our Facebook comments. Let's look at YouTube. Okay, don't think there's anything new over there. Doesn't look like we have any updates to the power outages, so I'm going to take this map back wide for state view and just play the loop while I check in to see if we have any updates from the National Weather Service or the Storm Prediction Center. All right, if you're just now popping in because maybe you're scrolling on your Facebook timeline and you see that we're streaming, we're just watching these storms that are moving through the state right now. Our only active warnings are the couple flash flood warnings we have. We have a flash flood warning in effect for the Little Rock Metro through 1:30, which right now we don't have terribly heavy rain moving through the Little Rock Metro. See, off to our northwest, kind of closer to northwest Arkansas into the Arkansas River Valley, we have a couple of more flash flood warnings in effect. This one through midnight, which we're about 30 minutes out from, so this flash flood warning may be allowed to expire at midnight. Severe thunderstorm watch continues along the I-30 corridor from central to southwestern Arkansas through 1 a.m. And we're just kind of hanging out, watching these storms as they move through the state. Again, if you have any questions, YouTube is up, Facebook is up. You can text them in. I'm popping up through all platforms trying to watch out for your questions. Somebody's asking about Rockwell, which is in Garland County. Looks like right now in Garland County, you have a little bit of a lull in the rain, but we are watching for these storms that are in southeastern Oklahoma to see what impacts that might make across west, central, and southern Arkansas. Couple people asking about Conway. We're watching these storms in the Arkansas River Valley, which will probably clip south of Conway. It looks like right now just light rainfall falling in Conway. Overnight though, kind of closing in on 3 or 4 a.m., we could see some more thunderstorms developing that are capable of producing those 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, possibly quarter-size hail. Our slight risk for a brief spin-up tornado does still include portions of Faulkner County, but Faulkner County is not included in our severe thunderstorm watch. So I think it's safe to say Faulkner County, city of Conway, your main hazard would probably be at best the heavy rainfall, maybe even for a strong storm, those damaging wind gusts. The tornado threat, just as we continue overnight, we don't have a lot of the same instability to work with. So that's why we have the severe thunderstorm watch now versus the tornado watch that we had for our neighbors to our west earlier this evening. Are you good to go to sleep in Jacksonville? Yes, you are. If it would give you a little more insurance, leave your ringer on. The flash flood warning for Pulaski County does not include Jacksonville. However, if you were following along with us a second ago, based off of the latest model runs, we could see another round of some storms around that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock time frame that could produce some heavy rainfall and some gusty winds. And maybe some thunder and lightning. So if you get woken up by the thunder and lightning, I'm sorry, but we still will have some storms moving through. Somebody asked, what does the aqua color mean? Or I'm going to assume that you're referring to this watch box. So I'm going to put a query on this. The watch box, or warning box, excuse me, is for a flash flood warning. And it's a little bit bigger for this flash flood warning up to our northwest. This is just the color of our flash flood warning, so that's what that means. If y'all would give me a second to take a sip of water while this plays. Couple folks on Facebook asking about Conway County. Take a trip over there. Looks like right now in Conway County, light, maybe even intermediate rainfall with some of this yellow. The thunderstorm just off to your southwest, that's probably gonna stay south of you as that moves east. This storm a little bit farther northwest may clip some of southern Conway County as it moves southwest, but it's not strong enough for any severe thunderstorm warnings right now. We just got some rainmakers out there, and the storms where you see lightning, they might be a little bit loud in regards to that thunder and lightning, but let's see, it looks like the National Weather Service office in Tulsa, they have the responsibility of some of those northwest Arkansas counties. They've removed a couple counties from their flood watch, but I think it's the counties they have in Oklahoma. So I do think all of the Arkansas counties under their responsibility will stay under the flood watch. No new updates at the moment from the National Weather Service office in Little Rock, which sometimes in these cases, no news is good news. So again, just to kind of bring you up to speed, we have some flash flood warnings to our west that are going to expire at midnight. Some flash flood warnings to our east impacting the Memphis area. That's in effect till 12:30. And then the flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro is in effect until 1:30. Somebody's asking about storm fuel. When you get into these overnight hours, you really don't have a lot of storm fuel to work with. You get a lot of that storm fuel from the sun. That's kind of like our oven, if you will, to preheat things. We're not going to see the sunshine for several more hours. So the only forcing mechanisms we have is the cold front that's off to our west in Oklahoma, and then that outflow boundary, which is draped kind of to the south of that line from, zoom in a bit, Mariana to about Stuttgart, maybe Pine Bluff down to Hope. That's kind of where that cutoff for that outflow boundary is. So we, aside from the humidity that we still have and the forcing boundaries, we just don't have a lot of storm fuel that would help give us what we need for a tornado. That's why we feel like the threat for the evening will primarily continue to be a heavy rainfall, maybe even gusty wind. Now, that's not to say a storm can't briefly spin up and we get a quick tornado warning, because that does happen sometimes overnight. But right now, our watch is the severe thunderstorm watch with a low end risk of a storm quickly spinning up. People have been asking a bit about Brinkley, which right now you just have some light rainfall falling at Brinkley. I think things are going to be pretty chill in Brinkley for the next couple hours. Dallas County, same for you, just kind of light rainfall right now. Let's walk through our HER model. I did this a little bit ago, but with new questions people maybe didn't see when we walked through the HER model. Again, it's already playing. Let's pause that. So you've heard us talk about before when we do our forecast, those long range models, those short range models. Those short range models, like the one we're looking at, this is one particular model's kind of outlook on what the pattern will be for the rest of the evening. Models are never perfect. For instance, right now, currently, this model is projecting we still have some of those heavy storms along Pulaski and Lonoke County, but that storm is a little bit farther south than the projection. So this tells us the trend, but this is not perfect. So between now and 1 a.m., which is when we're expecting that severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect for those southwestern counties to expire, we could still see those storms kind of coming out of the Arkansas River Valley and eastern Oklahoma, starting to make their way east. 5 o'clock, between 1 and 5 o'clock, those storms moving kind of out of central Arkansas into southeastern Arkansas. So people asking about Dallas County or about Brinkley or about Jefferson County or even over into Stuttgart, closer to Arkansas County. As you get closer overnight to the start of the morning news to sunrise, you could still see possibly some of those storms bringing some impacts, which again, as we continue through the evening, the main impact will be that heavy rainfall and maybe a severe thunderstorm producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Take this forward to 7 o'clock, because that's really when the rush hour begins to pick up. People are either headed to school or work. Looks like the strongest storms producing the heaviest downpours will be impacting locations from Arkadelphia to Pine Bluff down to Monticello. Little Rock Metro will probably have some isolated showers and thunderstorms that could bring impacts between 7 and 9 o'clock. So if you're somebody that frequently watches the Vine, 9 o'clock could still be tracking some heavy storms across the southern half of the state. And again, paying attention off to our west, we still got more storms impacting some of southeastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas that are going to be moving north and east. So by the afternoon, those storms starting to bring impacts again to the southern half of the state. That'll be moving north and east. So through tomorrow afternoon, we could see another round of rain impacting central Arkansas. But I hope that kind of answers your questions for the rest of the nighttime. These storms coming out of Oklahoma really after 1 a.m. could bring some more impacts, but our active severe thunderstorm watch that is only in effect for those counties along that I-30 corridor, that is in effect until 1. So we're going to have to kind of play the waiting game and see maybe once we get closer to 12:30 what the National Weather Service plans to do getting into the 1 o'clock hour, if they're going to allow that watch to expire, if they're going to issue a new one, or maybe add more counties to it. A lot of people are asking, is it safe to go to sleep now? As we handle any situations like this, we're not expecting you to stay up the whole night, especially right now when there are really no active warnings. Just go to sleep. Keep your ringer on, so if you have a severe thunderstorm warning that, that could wake you up if you feel the need to. But I think our tornado risk is a lot lower going through the rest of the night. No active thunderstorm warnings right now either. We got RDOT camera pulled up. Is this I-30? Yeah, so, okay, I'm getting word from our directors in the booth. What we're looking at is I-30 in downtown Little Rock. Is this before you cross the Arkansas River Bridge? So we're still in Little Rock. This is kind of before you get to that point where I-30 crosses the Arkansas River Bridge. Now, we were picking up some heavy rainfall here earlier. That is why they issued that flash flood warning. But right now, we got a nice break in Pulaski County. This is the Arkansas River Bridge, so just a couple miles down on I-30. No active rain right now. Roads do still look slick, so if you're traveling, don't get out there speeding. Roads are still slick even though it's not actively raining. Again, the flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro is still in effect through 1:30. Okay, doesn't look like we have any new questions. What we have up is our power outages. Not much new with power outages. Prairie County's numbers still look the same. Hot Spring County's numbers look the same. So right now, this is one of those times no news is good news. So I'm gonna let the stream play for a second. If you don't mind, Perry, can you turn my mic off so I can take a quick potty break? And while I do that, we're gonna let this radar play. And if I come back and y'all have any questions, we can jump right into those new questions. But I'm gonna take a quick, brief intermission and we're gonna leave you looking at that radar. Again, the only active warnings we have are those two flash flood warnings. Flash flood warning in Northwest Arkansas is about to expire in 17 minutes. And then we have the active warning for the Little Rock Metro. That's until 1:30. But I will be right back, friends. Hello, hello, can you hear me? Okay, did y'all miss me? That's okay if you didn't. Again, I took a little quick potty break. Our director, Mr. Perry Black, all his hard work, he needed a quick break as well and a sip of something to drink. So we're back. We're good, thankfully. These storms behaved while we took a break. Checking in and see if anybody's giving any updated questions. It does not appear so, which is good. National Weather Service hasn't said anything new, which, as we've said a couple times, no news right now is good news. So, looking at all our different avenues to see if any more information, new information has come out. Nothing from the Storm Prediction Center. So, yeah, looks like we do still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for some of central and southwestern Arkansas through 1 a.m. And we're at least just gonna keep rolling until 1 a.m. Now, if we get to 1 a.m. and things start turning up, well, we'll keep going. But if we get to 1 a.m. and things still look how they look now and they allow this watch to expire, then we'll call it a night. And then if things pick back up, say around 3 o'clock, we'll come back. But we're just hanging out through the night. I know a lot of people have asked the question, well, is it safe for me to go to bed? Well, the answer is yes. We don't have any tornado watches. I mean, there is still that low end risk of a spin up tornado, but we're not working with much storm fuel out there. Our main forcing mechanism that is going to trigger even a strong storm is that cold front that's kind of creeping through the state. And again, we got abundant moisture, but we still need a little bit of that instability for it to help the storms get strong enough to produce a tornado. We just aren't working with that tonight. So, let's see. Just kind of looking over different mesoscale analysis about what's happening at the surface and above our heads to see what we're working with as far as the potential for these storms through the evening. In the meantime, if y'all have any questions, fire them off in the chat. We're hanging out. Since y'all don't have a question for me, I got a question for y'all. For those of you all who regularly watch these overnight streams that we do you have a snack that you keep with you that you might snack on while you're listening for updates? My snack when I do these overnight updates is some pretzels, maybe a little beef jerky. So are y'all snacking on anything while y'all are hanging out? Just, let me know. Somebody asked earlier, do I like oatmeal cream pies? I think Tom had one on one of these streams months ago. When I snack, I like a salty or savory snack. I keep my sweets designated for dessert. Okay, so the National Weather Service just issued a special weather statement for the storm near Polk and Scott counties. So this storm, we're gonna pause this, that is coming out of Oklahoma. Looks like it's just west of Mena. So it's not strong enough for a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's strong enough for them to at least give you some additional information on it. So this storm is producing 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. Let's actually pull up our hail product to see if we can see on the radar estimate. So just east of Mena, what highway is this? Highway 59, kind of along Highway 8, but west of Highway 59. This is kind of closer to penny-sized hail. So again, not big enough for a severe thunderstorm warning, but enough to kind of bring notice to. And again, they are projecting 40-mile-an-hour wind, so we could switch this to our wind, which when you get this far in this day, we are looking at this from the perspective of the Little Rock radar. You're getting a little bit farther over here, but these blues, these lighter blues, still kind of indicating 40-mile-an-hour winds. But again, when you get this far, that radar beam is a little bit higher in the air. So yeah, that's the newest update from the National Weather Service. And again, the heaviest storms, strongest storms right now, we got this one group of storms along Yale County, Perry County, kind of south of that I-40 line. No special weather statements with this, but you can see a little bit of strength based off of just the amount of lightning juiced up in these storms. But these storms coming out of Oklahoma are a bit stronger. That's why we're at least getting the special weather statements associated with them. And again, this part of the state down by Polk County, that's the part of the state that is still under severe thunderstorm watch until 1 a.m. Time now is 11:55. If you happen to be doing a late night scroll on Facebook and you saw this and you're popping in, we're just here keeping an eye on what's happening across the state while we still have an active severe thunderstorm watch. About one more hour on that watch, waiting to see if the National Weather Service is either going to A, let it run its course and expire at 1 a.m., B, cancel it early, which with these storms coming into the state out of Oklahoma, I doubt B is going to be the option, or special option C, they extend it either in time or in county coverage as we see what starts to happen now after midnight and more storms are moving into the state. Our neighbors over in Memphis had some heavy rainfall as well. Flash flood warning over there for the Memphis Metro through 1:30, so same time as our warning here for the Little Rock Metro, which right now the Little Rock Metro, things are pretty quiet right now. Here is a look at the capital city. Pretty. This is looking west, as you can kind of make out from the state capitol. Our directors are telling me in my ear you were able to see a little bit of lightning, but because those storms are still several counties away, the lightning is probably going to be, there you go, a little bit farther in increments between those lightning strikes because of how far those storms are. No new comments or questions from anybody, which everybody's probably sleeping. That's what we want. Well, Perry, you said University of Mississippi State. I think you blended two school names together. Yes, so. That's in Hattiesburg. I don't want to rub salt in the wounds right now. So our director in my ear is saying, maybe add a tidbit that, of course, I went to Mississippi State University. That's where I got my degree in meteorology, and for the first time in over a decade, we're running 4-0 right now, but I just, as you heard me say, I don't want to rub salt in the wound. I know the Razorbacks have had a little bit of heartbreak this season, and if Nick Luttrell was up to hear me, he would be happy about me mentioning that. Possibly. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I think the stat, it's either 1 in every 3 or 1 in every 4 meteorologists you see on TV went to Mississippi State, well, either whether that was for undergrad or a master's degree. They have journalism, but they don't have meteorology. We've got some people asking about 3 a.m. Like, what will things look like around 3 a.m.? So, our HER model. So those storms that we were just looking at that are along that I-40 line, kind of in the river valley, they will keep tracking south and east. So by 3 a.m. we could possibly be feeling some of the effects of those storms in central Arkansas. But the agreement is kind of that as we continue through the night, the main hazard will be heavy downpours and those wind gusts. So I think tornado threat is low, but if it will give you some peace of mind and you decide to go to sleep, just leave those ringers on, because if you have our mobile app, when you get those warnings, you'll get a ping on your phone with that. And if things progress enough or at 3 a.m., we will be streaming. Kind of the idea right now is to just stay through 1 o'clock with that severe thunderstorm watch, but they've removed a couple more counties, it appears, from that severe thunderstorm watch. So right now, counties still under that watch. We've got Pulaski County, Saline County, Garland County, to Montgomery County, then Pike, Clark, Hot Spring, Dallas, and Grant County. So this is for the next hour, this severe thunderstorm watch. And I'm going to assume that is for these storms that a second ago I was telling you about, that special weather statement for Polk County. That's those storms coming out of Oklahoma that we were looking at about an hour ago. So this part of the state, along that I-30 line, these storms that are knocking on the door of that Arkansas-Oklahoma border, we're watching these as they move east. I think that's why they're still keeping the severe thunderstorm watch for those counties. Flash flood warning in northwest Arkansas have been allowed to expire, so our only active warning period in the state is the flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro through 1:30. People are asking, is it safe to go to sleep? Yeah, just keep your ringer on. If you get a severe thunderstorm warning, which is likely that if we're going to get anything, it'll be a severe thunderstorm warning, you can get those updates. See if we got any hail across the state. So that storm in Polk County that has a special weather statement, still picking up what's likely penny-sized hail, just slightly northwest of Mena, south of Highway 88, but north of Highway 8. And then a county over in Montgomery County, this is probably penny-sized hail or nickel-sized hail along Highway 88, but it looks like that's the only hail we have in the state right now. Things are chill right now. We like when things are chill. That means you can go to sleep and have your own natural white noise to go to sleep to, the pitter-patter of the rain on the window. Somebody asked, will these storms coming out of Mena reach Hot Springs? I mean, these storms are moving east-southeast, so it may clip some of southern Garland County, but I can't specifically say Hot Springs specifically. I mean, we do still have some storms a little bit farther south, so just as these couple of clusters of storms move in, Hot Springs likely will feel some impacts, but the active watch that is in effect is until 1 o'clock. If you're in Pulaski County, Saline County, the little bit of break we've had from the rain is about to end. I mean, northwestern portions of Saline County probably already hearing the thunder and the lightning, but these storms are coming out of the river valley, about to move into our area. So West Little Rock probably starting to pick up on more rain showers. I would say here in the next 30 minutes or so, we'll probably start to make out more thunder and lightning closing in on the capital city. This rattling you hear is me snacking on pretzels. Oh, you didn't have to pull it up for them to see. Do you want some? Were they in the break room, or did you bring them? It's probably all gone now, huh? In the break room. Somebody asked at a mall mail, should you be staying up? You don't necessarily have to stay up, but you probably are about to start hearing some thunder and lightning within the next 30 minutes as these storms come out of Perry County. Not strong enough for any warnings right now. And our only special weather statement is the storm in Polk County. So you might hear a little rowdiness here in a bit, but I don't think there's a concern to necessarily need to stay up. Somebody's asking about Hot Springs. I mean, it's not raining in Hot Springs right now. Just watching these storms off to the west as they move east through the state. Hot Springs might pick up on another thunderstorm before daybreak. So it doesn't look like new questions or new information from the National Weather Service right now. So we're just kind of hanging out as these storms approach the capital city. I'm gonna let this loop play and see if we can pick up on these RDOT cameras in Perry County. Can maybe try to get a visual of what it looks like over there with those storms. Then we're gonna let this play while I look for that. We don't have any good RDOT cameras in Perry County. That's disappointing. Let's see. Where else could we possibly get a visual? Doesn't look like we have any good cameras in Mena or in Polk County either. Well, can we take a look at our weather camera that's pointed west to see if we can just see some lightning on that? I know those storms are getting a little bit closer. Yeah, it looks like the time apart between the lightning flashes is still kind of an indication that those storms are still a bit of a ways off out in the distance. Which highway are we looking at right now? Oh, it looks so different at night. Okay, this is the I-430 bridge coming out of Little Rock into Maumelle. That goes over the Arkansas River. Oh, well, it's technically still North Little Rock. Oh, so we're looking southbound? Okay, so this is southbound. You can see a little bit of lightning off in the distance, but those storms still a little bit off to the distance. Like I said, I would say we have between 30 minutes to an hour. It does look like the storm coming out of Perry County, is moving more so into Saline County than it is Pulaski County. Which highway is this we're looking at? Okay, this is out in West Little Rock, that Cantrell interchange, Cantrell and I-430. And this is a Big Rock interchange in West Little Rock. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of people on the road right now. Somebody asks, is the storm going to be severe when it comes through Hot Springs? Hot Springs is still under severe thunderstorm watch, but we don't have any active warnings right now. So it's just a matter of if the storm strength is at all, which, of course, our criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail in northeastern Montgomery County. It's closer to maybe penny size. This is trying to get a little bit bigger, almost quarter-size hail near Okay, so this is a 270 bypass in Garland County near the city of Hot Springs. Yeah, you can see a little bit lighter, but can we pull back up max 1, please? Again, for severe thunderstorm warning, quarter-size hail or 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts closing in on the Garland County, Montgomery County border. This storm is, the hail size estimates is getting a little bit bigger. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. That's hell again. Let's look at the wind. Wind of this storm, maybe 50 miles an hour. So I think it's likely, if anything, we might get a special weather statement on this storm as it closes in on Hot Springs. either a special weather statement or they do go ahead and pull the trigger on the severe thunderstorm warning for the hail size, because it is trying to pick up a little bit. All right, let's put this back on our reflectivity. So yeah, here's the landscape right now. It's really the southwestern part of the state where we have just active thunderstorms. There's a special weather statement for this storm in Polk County, looking to see if the storm near the border of Montgomery and Garland County gets at least a special weather statement, because we're seeing that strength pick up a little bit. A nice indicator of the strength of the storms when looking at just the reflectivity, when we have this lightning signature up, when we're getting a lot of lightning strikes, and it gives you both of those colors, those pinks and those blues, that kind of gives you an idea of the strength of that storm. And then of course, when you take a deeper look and you look at things like the hail, which now we're starting to see a little bit more of that royal blue along Lake Washita, that's closer to quarter size hail, or those live winds, it's getting a little bit of a lighter blue through here. That's probably closer to 50-mile-an-hour wind. So that storm definitely packing a little bit of a punch, but based off of what I'm seeing right now, I don't see the National Weather Service maybe pulling the trigger on a full-blown severe thunderstorm warning. I think it could get a special weather statement. Oh, okay, it looks like they just issued a special weather statement as I said that. So special weather statement for this storm, and that is impacting portions of Montgomery County into Garland County until 1 a.m., 40-mile-an-hour winds and penny-sized hail. No new questions coming from anybody, which is good. We have about 43 minutes now until when that severe thunderstorm watch is set to expire. Looks like you can see a little bit more lightning on our camera on top of Symone Bank Arena here in Little Rock, or the Symone Bank Tower, excuse me, as those storms are moving into Saline County now. So looking off west, the lightning strikes are getting a little bit closer together. Well, don't make me out to be a fool now. You were just giving us a light show. Looks like we're not gonna get us a lightning strike, Perry. We can go back to max 1 if you don't mind. Thank you. Your time now is 12:20. If you're scrolling on Facebook and you've stumbled upon this stream, or you've already been following along with us on Facebook, THV11's, or YouTube. I'm sorry, my crunching is me snacking on a pretzel. Let me finish that. All right, I'm not crunching in your ear anymore. I'm meteorologist Symone Thomas. Just watching the rain falling across central Arkansas. We hear a little bit of thunder here downtown because, as you see, we've got some storms coming out of Perry County into Saline County. Not quite Pulaski County, but you know, obviously when those storms get close enough, you see the lightning, you hear the thunder. Currently, no active warnings in effect. We do have that flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro for about another 80 minutes or 70 minutes, excuse me, hour and 10 minutes. Special weather statement for Montgomery County into Garland County for 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. We also had another special weather statement for Polk County for some of the same impacts. Severe thunderstorm watch continues for another 39 minutes until 1 a.m. So the plan right now is to just kind of hang on, hold tight until this watch is set to expire. Now, if the National Weather Service decides to extend the watch or issue a watch for more counties, we'll keep going. But while things are how they are, we're just gonna hang out until 1. And then we'll kind of take a break. And if things start to get back active again after 1, we'll pop back on. Meteorologist Tracy Bean will be joining us in a couple of hours. She's probably getting her last few winks of sleep. She's coming in at 3. And I'm gonna at least hang out until we start our morning newscast at 5 a.m. to give Tracy a moment to gather her thoughts and, you know, graphics and stuff for the morning show. But like I've said a couple times so far overnight, we're in one of those patterns. No news is good news. We're hanging out. Quite a few people have asked, is it safe to go to sleep? Our tornado threat has significantly decreased. I think if you do get a warning, it's either going to be for hail or the wind. And then again, just heavy downpours have been a concern. So we're watching what happens. It looks like another severe thunderstorm warning was issued over in Oklahoma. So as more of those storms fire up, they got to go somewhere. As they move east, we'll be next in the neighborhood to get those visitors. So that's why we're just kind of following along right now. If anything, if you're already asleep, the thunder and lightning might wake you up if a strong storm moves through, but not anything to be scared of. Checking through all of our platforms that we're on. Seeing if we have any questions. Somebody's asking about rotation in Hot Springs. Well, it's not raining in Hot Springs if you're referring to the storm to your north. Looking at our rotation tracker. Rotation detector is not picking up on anything now. You might be dealing with 40-mile-an-hour winds. That's why they issued the special weather statement, but nothing indicating that a tornado would be in the area, if that's kind of what you're hinting at. I'm hoping, Perry, the fact that we're not getting a lot of questions is because people are asleep. It's a work night and a school night for a lot of folks. Concerned for the storm headed to Cabot. Well, there's not necessarily a storm headed to Cabot. 7 in the morning when the kids go to the bus stop. Probably going to be raining south of the Little Rock Metro, because I'm going to take this to that full radar, because right now this is set to specifically our Little Rock radar, but this gives us more of that satellite view. We've got these storms firing up in southern Oklahoma, northern Texas. They got to push east. As they push east, we're going to see some of those impacts across the southern half of the state. So through the morning, those kids in Arkadelphia, Pine Bluff, Monticello, Camden, definitely going to need the rain gear. Let's put this back though on our sweeping radar, because that gives us a bit more detail when we're looking for different things. Somebody's asking about a storm moving through Little Rock. We really don't. The storm is off to our west. If you're referring to this storm coming out of Perry County, kind of into Saline County, it's just moving east, southeast. It might clip some of Little Rock, but that's really still off to the distance for us. So we just got a severe thunderstorm warning on this storm impacting portions of Montgomery and Garland County. City of Hot Springs is not quite included in this polygon. Lake Washita State Park is in this polygon. Let's see the stats that the National Weather Service has issued. So this is for quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Let's pause this because it's in motion. As we kind of talked about before, a lot of lightning picked up on this, which in some cases can indicate strength. That hail that they're talking about, that hail core over Lake Washita, just to the west of Lake Washita State Park. This is south of Highway 278, Buckville, Arkansas, and Garland County. You're probably seeing that quarter-size hail right now. As far as the wind, again, 60-mile-an-hour wind. So we're getting into more of this royal blue kind of shade. We're seeing some of that over Lake Washita and Lake Washita State Park, maybe down to Mountain Pine. Generally south of Highway 298, but north of Highway 270 is where we're feeling the heat from this storm right now. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for Garland County through, what was the time on this? 1 a.m. So for the next half hour. So it does include portions of Yale County and Montgomery County, but it's really Garland, a good chunk of Garland County that's picking up on the impacts of this. That is our only active warning right now, though this just came down from the National Weather Service. And we've been kind of following the storm. Like I said, it started with the special weather statement, but it got a little bit of its strength together to develop some quarter-size hail. See if we got any new questions. No, it doesn't look like we have any new questions on Facebook. YouTube. Thank you for the kind words on YouTube. So yeah, right now that's what we have. We got this one active severe thunderstorm warning impacting portions of Montgomery County into Garland County, which the strong part of the storm that triggered the warning is in Garland County. And this is for Lake Washita and Lake Washita State Park. If you live near those areas, probably hearing that loud thunder outside. And again, pals, our severe thunderstorm watch continues for 30 minutes. So the severe thunderstorm warning and the watch right now are both set to expire at 1 o'clock. I'm watching closely with the National Weather Service on what their intentions are as far as if they're going to extend the watch, if they are going to issue a new one for any more of those counties to our south as those storms come out of Oklahoma over the next couple hours. Our time is right at 12:30. At 1 o'clock, that's when we'll have a new batch of model data coming through. Well, it doesn't exactly come through at 1. That's when it'll start to come through. We'll probably actually be able to see it closer to 2. I am going to look for an RDOT camera in Garland County. That's east. I don't want east, I want west. None of those give me a good view. Do you mind pulling up Storm Track 11 for me, Perry? Thank you. So what we're looking at, this is in Hot Springs on that 270 bypass. This is looking west. So to kind of give you a point of reference, that polygon for the severe thunderstorm warning does not include the city of Hot Springs at this moment. If they decide to extend it downstream, Hot Springs might be included in that. But this is looking west, where you are looking in the direction of the storm. The storm right now impacting Lake Ouachita and Lake Ouachita State Park. Let's take it back to Max 1. I just wanted to try to give you that visual as close to that storm as I could. Again, our only active warning is coming out of Garland County. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. On YouTube, somebody posed the question, is the flash flooding in Pulaski County or the Little Rock Metro going to cause flash flooding downstream in the Arkansas River? That warning was issued closer to 10 o'clock when we had a strong storm moving through. We've had a lull in the rain for some time now, but of course we got this next round of intermediate to heavy rain closing in. So I can't necessarily say it's going to pose risk of flooding downstream because we don't have heavy rain downstream that would trigger a warning. But we have about an hour left on that flash flood warning as this next batch of rain moves through areas that were already saturated that might have had standing water, might be a little susceptible of some standing water as this next wave of heavy rain moves through. Somebody's asking about staying on long enough for us to get new model information. That really won't be until 2 o'clock. There's nothing right now indicating a need for you to just stay on, making yourself anxious for no reason. Greatest concern is for heavy rainfall, and if you're not leaving your house, I don't see there being a concern of getting caught in flash flooding. If you happen to go to sleep, at most you might hear some loud thunder and lightning, but if you're concerned about a tornado, that's not something that you necessarily need to be concerned about. People asking about downtown Hot Springs. Hot Springs not included in the severe thunderstorm warning. You probably hear thunder and lightning, but this storm is still north of downtown Hot Springs. So time now is 12:35. 25 minutes left in our severe thunderstorm watch. Sorry, I'm texting back and forth with our team that's helping us stay on the stream. Making sure we don't have any new questions. We had a new question. Oh, somebody said loud thunder in East Conway. Let's look up in Faulkner County. Yeah, you're probably hearing that thunder of this storm just slightly off to your southwest, coming out of Perry County, kind of along the Saline-Pulaski County border, but it's not necessarily a thunderstorm occurring in Conway. The storm we were watching in Polk County earlier has moved out of Mena. It looks like it lost a little bit of its strength too. Now down in southern Polk County, closer towards where the Queen is, that storm got a little strength to it, but don't see, doesn't look like, oh no, they did issue a special weather statement. So when you get into this part of the state, closer to the Queen and Nashville, now you're dealing with the National Weather Service in Shreveport. So they did issue a special weather statement for that storm that's just north of the Queen. 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. When we look at our hail product, I don't think that storm is producing big enough hail for a warning. Yeah, that's probably maybe penny-sized. This storm in Garland County, that hail signature still looks like it's closer to quarter size. It's now exiting Lake Ouachita State Park. Mountain Pine, you're probably hearing the thunder and lightning. West Mountain Pine probably even picking up on some hail. Downtown Hot Springs, again, not included in this polygon. Piney, Rockwell, you're just barely in this polygon, but that storm is still, or the hail core of that storm is still off to your north. In regards to our winds, yeah, this is still indicative of 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds. I think what's keeping them with this warning is the hail right now. It looks like those wind speeds have reduced just below severe criteria, but that hail is still big enough. So keep an eye on this. Again, strongest storms right now west of the Little Rock Metro, south of I-40, but north of I-30. So kind of this slice of the state is what we're keeping an eye on right now. Looking to see if we have any new information from the National Weather Service or the Storm Prediction Center, which it doesn't look like it. No, this is good news. Somebody said it's getting loud in Hot Springs and in Holland. Yeah, that storm is in your vicinity, but I think in Hot Springs, it's just gonna kind of clip to the north of you. Or maybe even some of East Hot Spring pick up on the tail end of that as it's moving south and east. This warning is through 1 o'clock, so we're gonna watch to see if they extend that polygon at all. You also have this southern extent of this situation coming out of Montgomery County. coming out of Montgomery County and northern Pike County. That's kind of also impacting some of southwestern Garland County. Let me pause it so you can see what I'm talking about. So right here, south of 270, north of 70, that's going to be impacting some of western Garland County here in a bit as well, but it doesn't have the same strength as this coming out of Lake Catherine State Park. This, where we see that big cluster of lightning, is what they issued this morning for. In the capital city, is that rain out here outside? Let me peek my head out this door to look at the weather garden right quick. Yeah, it started raining downtown Little Rock. It's just a light rain right now. So light rain falling in downtown Little Rock. West of Little Rock, we've got thunderstorm impacting portions of northern Saline County, western Pulaski County. From the National Weather Service, nothing on this storm. Severe thunderstorm warning another county over in Garland County. No new information on that. So let's look at our hail, see if we're still holding together. Yeah, we're still maintaining what looks like quarter-size hail just west of Mountain Pine, north of Highway 270, but west of Mountain Pine and 227. Blakely Dam Road, you're likely feeling some of that rain or some of that hail. Mountain Pine High School, with our wind. Some of that wind is gusting back up just south of Lake Ouachita. Some of these little pockets of lighter blue, 50 to 60 mile an hour. So it's cycling up with the strength of that wind again, and it's maintaining likely that quarter-sized hail. Usually when you're 15 minutes into a warning, the National Weather Service will give an update on if they're going to continue the warning or if they're going to cancel it early. So we're coming up on the time frame of that update. We're going to see what they decide to do. They're likely going to continue it. Again, that warning is in effect through 1 o'clock, so they're likely going to continue with this warning. Check and see if we have any new questions. Is that severe storm expected to make it to the Little Rock Metro? Because this is moving east-southeast, it's probably going to clip south of the Metro. Put this in motion so you can see what I mean. So you see how it's kind of moving ever so slightly east-southeast. So right now it's just north of downtown Hot Springs. It looks like they just issued a special weather statement for this storm. So I wonder, I think it's for just outside of this, closer to Hot Spring Village into Saline County. What's happening here with this lightning outside of the polygon, this is what they've issued the special weather statement for. But let me not get off track. What we're looking at is for this storm that actually has a warning. I'm going to put a storm track on this. It's moving east at 30 miles an hour. So yeah, so this is probably going to stay south of Little Rock. Some of north and eastern Hot Springs might feel like the southern tail end of this. Whittington, Lonesdale, Glen Rose, Haskell within the next hour will likely feel the effects of this. And then the storm just off to the east of that at this Garland County and Saline County border. This is moving, they say, east at 35 miles an hour. So we're going to add a storm track to that. So what we just put a storm track on was a storm in this polygon for a severe thunderstorm warning. But while we've been talking about that, right here at this Garland County, Saline County border, just to the right of that polygon, this part of the storm, they've issued a special weather statement, which means it's strong enough for some note, but not strong enough for full severe thunderstorm warning. It's moving at 35 miles an hour, moving east, so it's going to move through central Saline County, Bryant, in about 45 minutes. You'll feel some of those impacts. Mableville, over the next hour, maybe a little less than an hour, you're feeling some of the impacts. This is probably going to impact West Little Rock over the next hour, this storm with the special weather statement. And that special weather statement was issued for 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-sized hail. So let's bring up our hail product to look at the size of this hail. So this little light blue blob in northern Saline County, that's associated with a storm with the special weather statement that we just did the track on, that will impact some of Bryant and Mableville. But the storm that is still under that severe thunderstorm warning, this has weakened a little bit. This is probably closer to nickel-sized hail. When you look at the hail path, as it moved through Lake Ouachita State Park, there were points where it peaked a little bit closer to between quarter size and ping pong size hail. But with this latest scan, that hail size has gone down a little bit. So we got about 12 minutes left in that severe thunderstorm warning. They're likely going to let that expire and just go with special weather statement. But I don't make that call. The National Weather Service makes that call. So we're going to wait for them to make that call, and I'll tell you what they say. But again, in north central Saline County, that special weather statement is for penny-sized hail, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and that will likely impact some of West Little Rock in the next hour. Off to our west, as more of those storms come out of Oklahoma, some of southwest Arkansas is still picking up on some of their own thunderstorms. That part of the state, under the responsibility of the National Weather Service in Shreveport, they've been issuing special weather statements for that part of the state for 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Let's see if we have any new questions. People saying they hear thunder and lightning in Hot Springs. People saying they hear thunder and lightning in Mayflower. Yeah, you're probably going to hear thunder and lightning as this storm with the special weather statement moves further east into Pulaski County. If you're just now checking in, our time, we're about 5 seconds from 12:50. So we technically have 10 minutes left in our severe thunderstorm watch. Waiting to see what the Storm Prediction Center's plan is on if they're going to allow that watch to expire, if they're going to extend it at all. The plan is to take a pause at 1 when that watch expires. If they decide to extend the watch, we'll keep going, but no new word on that right now. Our flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro will continue through 1:30. It's likely that as this strong storm moves into the metro, we'll get another bout of heavy rain. Which, just based off of how this is moving, it'll probably just be exiting the metro by that 1:30 time frame. Somebody's asking about Hot Spring County. Well, there's not really anything happening in Hot Spring County right now. The storm with the severe thunderstorm warning is still in Garland County. It's moving east northeast, so I think if it's gonna impact any of Hot Spring County, it'll be this northern tip, kind of north of Malvern, the part of the storm with the warning attached to it now. Some of this storm under the special weather statement might clip some of it, but I don't see a severe thunderstorm warning getting extended into Hot Spring County, because that hail size has decreased significantly and wind speeds are still clocking at about 40. So that is what it's looking like right now. Again, still keeping an eye on southwestern Arkansas. I'm going to put this to more of that satellite product because that gives us a view of what's coming out of Oklahoma. So we have storms that are firing up in southern Oklahoma, North Texas, that are going to be moving east into some of southern Arkansas over these next couple hours, but no word yet. Somebody's asking the blue box over Little Rock. That was the flash flood warning that was issued around 10 o'clock. That flash flood warning is still in effect through 1:30. Yeah, so this is that flash flood warning. It was issued right after 10. It was like at 10:22. When they issue flash flood warnings, they usually issue it for hours at a time. So that's why it's still in effect. We've got 7 minutes left on the timing of this severe thunderstorm warning and our severe thunderstorm watch. No new information from the National Weather Service or the Storm Prediction Center. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning in Garland County is set to expire at 1. Our severe thunderstorm watch is also set to expire at 1. Our current plan right now, what we've had since 10:45 when we hopped on, was if we get to 1 o'clock and they allow the watch to expire, we'll kind of take a pause. And if things look like they're picking up in the metro, we'll pick back up. Because we have this storm in western Pulaski County, I think we're going to keep going past 1 just to allow this storm to get south of this I-30, I-40 axis. Don't see them issuing a severe thunderstorm warning, but quite a few people still asking questions as these storms move through. So we're going to at least stay on maybe 1:30 just to let these couple storms roll through and see if we get any new information. from the Storm Prediction Center. So your time now is 12:56. All of our relevant watches and warnings are currently set to expire at 1. So we're waiting to get any word on if a new watch will be issued, if the current watch will be allowed to expire. Just kind of waiting to see, but in the meantime, we do have some storms strong enough to warrant a special weather statement moving through western portions of Pulaski County, central portions of Symone County. The storm over in Garland County that produced the severe thunderstorm warning, that hail size, which was really what they issued it for, has significantly decreased. In fact, we're not even picking up on much of a hail signature. For the winds, wind speeds look like they're around 40 miles an hour, so they're gonna probably allow this warning to expire. Whether or not they roll with a special weather statement is to be determined. Check our chat with the National Weather Service. See if they're gonna say anything new. So yeah, if you're in Garland County, Symone County, or Pulaski County, you're probably hearing thunder and lightning, but our only active warning is getting ready to expire here in the next 2.5 minutes. Some of southern Polk County is still picking up on some thunderstorms. Southeast of Mena, got the storm near the Polk County, Montgomery County border, picking up on some pretty decent lightning. And again, just over the next couple hours, we're going to be watching what's coming out of Oklahoma. And if that's going to create a little bit of a bumpy ride before day on your Wednesday in southern Arkansas. So again, time now 12:58:30. So we got 90 seconds until when our watches are set to expire. No new word yet from the National Weather Service, only because we still have these thunderstorms moving through portions of Saline and Pulaski County. And we're gonna keep rolling past 1. Once this moves out of those heavily populated counties, unless anything changes with our active watches, if another watch is issued, we'll keep going. But if they allow this watch to expire and we don't get a new one, we're just gonna let these storms get out of this heavily populated area, and we're gonna take a break on the stream. Now, of course, if we end up getting new warnings after the fact, or if just anything changes between now and 5 a.m. when our morning news starts, we'll hop back on. So we're gonna do another 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just to let this move out of those heavily populated areas. And again, our flash flood warning is set to expire at 1:30 as well. So a lot of things are set to expire between the next 20 seconds to 30 minutes. So if nothing changes from what we're seeing right now by 1:30, at 1:30, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and get off the stream. And like I said, if anything changes significantly before 5 a.m., we'll hop back on the stream. No new comments on Facebook or on YouTube. No news is good news. Doesn't look like we have anything new from the National Weather Service at the moment, or the Storm Prediction Center. Our time now is 1 a.m. So that severe thunderstorm watch is supposed to be expiring right now. I'm gonna let this radar loop play out for a second while I just check in to see what the word is going to be from the National Weather Service. That severe thunderstorm warning in Garland County was allowed to expire We've had a lot of people out of Hot Springs asking questions. Hot Springs, you probably are hearing some thunder and lightning. You're about to hit a brief spell of heavy rain, move through some of northern and eastern Hot Springs. Some of northern Hot Spring County might pick up on some heavy rain here in a second. So as this little small line of thunderstorms right here that's closing in on I-30 moves east, we're going to keep an eye on this just because we got some densely populated areas between Hot Springs, Benton and Brighton and Little Rock. But currently looks like they have allowed the severe thunderstorm watch to expire. Sounds like light rain still falling in downtown Little Rock based off of what I hear in our weather garden. I'm gonna peek my head out here, see what it looks like. Yeah, pretty light to moderate rain falling here in downtown Little Rock, but some of our neighbors in western Pulaski County might be falling a little bit heavier for you guys. No new word yet from the National Weather Service, which it's only 1:02, so. Yeah, in Hot Springs, you're probably picking up on moderate to heavy rainfall right now, but it does look like, excuse me, that thunderstorm that was moving through Lake Ouachita State Park has decreased in strength significantly. So it's likely just some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning in southwest Garland County. This is along Highway 70, so at the Garland County Hot Spring border, a little bit of lightning there. But in the city of Hot Springs, it's probably going to be a swath of heavy rain. Central Saline County, you're picking up on some heavy rain, maybe hearing a little bit of thunder and lightning. West Pulaski County, picking up on a little thunder and lightning. If you're near Lake Maumelle, Pinnacle Mountain State Park, you're probably feeling that heavier rain. In the capital city along I-430, you're probably picking up on some heavy rain. Let me actually pull up one of our traffic cameras out there to give you a visual of things in West Little Rock. So, let me see. Perry, do you mind pulling up the Storm Track 11 for me? This is from the Big Rock Water Tower in West Little Rock. It's hard to see because the rain is falling a little bit heavier out there. Again, that's where we're starting to pick up on some heavier rainfall in West Little Rock and in western Pulaski County. Let me take you a little bit closer. What we're looking at now is at Cantrell Interchange. So this is where Highway 10 into 430 kind of intersect. Not as much happening here because that heaviest rain is still off to your west near Pinnacle Mountain State Park, but definitely along 430 things are falling a little bit heavier. Can we take it back to Max 1, please? Thank you. So let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, it looks like the strongest is still off to our west. No, Pinnacle Mountain State Park, Chenal Mountain, Ferndale, North Point. You're probably hearing some thunder and lightning out there. Again, Central Saline County, Hot Springs, you're probably picking up on some heavy rain. No active severe weather warnings in Central Arkansas. Extreme Southwest Arkansas has a warning. Howard and Sevier County through 1:45, but that's in the responsibility area of Shreveport, Louisiana. See if we have any new comments. No new comments on any of our platforms. No new information either from the National Weather Service office in North Little Rock, which no news is good news. Does look like they've allowed the watch to expire, which is a win for us. So we're just gonna let this heavy rain that is in West Little Rock get through the county. This rain in Garland and Saline County get through these counties. Yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on this till 1:30. If nothing changes by 1:30, I think we'll take a little intermission at 1:30. Our flood watches still in effect through Wednesday afternoon, because even though our severe risk is winding down, there's still going to be a heavy rain risk, with more rounds of rain expected late Wednesday morning through Wednesday afternoon. Just looking around at our different resources to see if we've gotten any additional information. So let's see. Time now is 1:08. No active warnings. Our only active watch is a flooding watch, or a flood watch, excuse me. Severe thunderstorm watch was allowed to expire at 1, which is great news for us. We are just keeping the stream rolling right now while we have some heavy rain move through Hot Springs and eventually Benton and Alexander and western portions of Pulaski County. Once this clears some of those heavily populated cities, we're going to take a bit of a break, because I would not be surprised if closer to 3-4 o'clock we get a little more spicy action. Spicy in regards to maybe quarter-size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, heavy rain. Our tornado threat has significantly decreased. So a lot of folks have been asking, is it safe to go to sleep? Yes, it's safe to go to sleep. Just if you want an extra peace of mind, leave your ringer on. So if a warning, severe thunderstorm warning, is issued for your county, likely whenever you get the alert of a severe thunderstorm warning, we will be hopping back on stream. So that's just kind of a reinforcement for your peace of mind. If a warning does get issued, you get that ping, we'll be back on the stream. You can turn this back on. But in the meantime, you don't have to lose sleep waiting on something to happen, because we could very well just keep going with what we have right now, which is heavy rain and maybe a little thunder and lightning. And that flash flood warning that was issued about 3 hours ago, it looks like that will be allowed to expire in 20 minutes when it's set to. Just looking to see what happens as this swath of heavy rain moves through the city. Somebody's saying it's pouring in West Little Rock. Yeah, that seems about right. The sky has broken on Hot Springs. Well, I hope it hasn't broken. That sounds kind of wicked. But yeah, it does look like some heavy rain is falling in Hot Springs. A little bit of lightning going on near the Hot Spring and Garland County border. A little bit of lightning. Heavy rain in West Little Rock. Pine Bluff, Sheridan, Fordyce, Star City. Y'all sleeping good. It's not much happening there, but you know, we've got neighbors all over the place. We want to make sure everybody is good and they're not necessarily worried. So we're just gonna let this play while we look to see if an update comes in from the National Weather Service. I'm almost out of water. No mesoscale discussions from the Storm Prediction Center, which is pretty good. Means there's nothing necessarily noteworthy in regards to any imminent danger or hazard. National Weather Service is going to extend the time in the flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro through 4:30. Because an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain accumulation is possible overnight. So what we're going to do, we are going to bring up our 6-hour rainfall totals, because if you were watching the 10 o'clock news and right after Tom's full forecast, that's when they issued the flash flood warning. And at that point they had said over the past 2 hours between 1.5 and 2 inches had fallen. Of course, it's been 3 hours since then. We haven't received a whole lot more rain since then. Like that cluster of storms moved out of here. We've pretty much been on since after the 10 o'clock show. So we had a nice break in the rain, but of course now more of that rain is falling. But to account for those hours prior to the 10 o'clock show and the time that's since the 10 o'clock show, this is how much rainfall we picked up on. So where you see this swath of orange kind of getting into some of these reds, that's that 1.5 and 2 inches that they've talked about, with an additional 1 to 2 inches possible. Over to our west into Saline County, northern Garland County, some of southern Perry County, where it's more of that deeper red, almost maroon. That's 2 to almost 3 inches that has fallen since about, 7:30? Because 3 hours ago was 10:13, so 3 hours before that would have been 7:13. So quite a bit of rainfall has fallen across central Arkansas, with more on the way. So this is why they have extended our flash flood warning for Pulaski County. I'm gonna put this back on our radar, because they've issued a special weather statement for portions of Hot Spring County, Garland County, and Clark County. So let's pause this to take you over to what they're talking about. So I'm assuming it's this storm right here that is south of Highway 70, kind of right along where 84 and 347 intersect. We're picking up a lot of lightning here. They issued the special weather statement. It's in effect until 1:45 for 30 minutes for 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and half-inch hail. Well, let's start with our hail tool to take a look at that hail estimate. So yeah, oops, pushing buttons and then mess myself up. So let's take it back and put back on our hail tool. So yeah, right here, kind of at that panhandle of Hot Spring County, this light blue, yeah, that's probably closer to that half-inch hail, not quite big enough for quarter size. As far as the wind, yeah, just south of 84, Highway 84, where we're getting into that lighter blue, that is closer to that 50-mile-an-hour wind. So storm strong enough for some note, which is why they've issued the special weather statement, but not strong enough for a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, this is kind of right there at that border of Garland County, Hot Spring County, some of Clark County included in that. The lightning we've seen kind of through Hot Springs, through central Saline County into West Little Rock. or western Pulaski County, excuse me, not as strong as the storm down here. So this is mainly just a general thunderstorm getting closer to the capital city, but some heavy rainfall is possible, especially in these reds and oranges, which again is why they have extended our flash flood warning. Doesn't look like any new information other than that from the National Weather Service. No new information from the Storm Prediction Center. So yeah, we're gonna go till 1:30, and at 1:30 we're gonna take a pause. Somebody's asking about Malvern. Malvern is not included in that special weather statement. Likely Bismarck would be in the path. Let's actually pause this and put a storm track on that for you. This storm is moving southeast at 20 miles an hour, so this storm is moving slow, which means more time for it to dump heavy rain on you in northern Hot Spring County. So let's add the track to this. It's right here, kind of along 84. So Bismarck, probably towards the tail end of the time frame of that special weather statement, you'll be picking up on some of those impacts. But central Hot Spring County, you'll likely be feeling the impacts of this storm that is strong enough for a special weather statement, but not strong enough for a severe thunderstorm warning. No active watches in effect aside from our flood watch. The severe thunderstorm watch was allowed to expire at 1, but we've just got some storms producing some thunder and lightning moving through some of our heavily populated counties. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Howard and Sevier counties, but that is in the coverage area or the responsibility area of Shreveport. Couple people out of Garland County saying the thunder isn't necessarily frequent, but it is loud. Yeah, sure it is a bit loud, especially as you get closer towards Lake Hamilton and closer to that Garland County, Hot Spring County border. So yeah, folks in Hot Spring County, some of central Saline County, some of western Pulaski County, over the next hour or so, you're gonna be hearing some thunder and lightning. Looks like the rain is picking up here in downtown Little Rock. It's falling a little bit heavier. Oh yeah, it's coming down. Perry, can we see anything in the weather garden if we pull up that camera? If not, that's okay. I could pull up our I-30 camera. So this is what it looks like in the weather garden. That heavy rain is starting to come down in downtown Little Rock. Not hearing much thunder and lightning here downtown, but off in West Pulaski County, y'all might be hearing some thunder and lightning closer to Pinnacle Mountain State Park and Ferndale and even up into Maumelle. Thank you for that, Perry. If we can pull up Storm Track 11, take a look at some of our traffic cameras. Our poor little hog out there is getting soaked. So this is the I-30 River Bridge. The rain is starting to fall again. Y'all are driving too fast for my comfort, but we are starting to see a few more people on the roadways. Again, this is that I-30 River Bridge. Let's take it to Hot Springs, because I know our folks in Hot Springs are saying they're hearing some heavy or loud thunder. Yeah, it doesn't, looks like the strongest of that is getting to your south, and we don't have a lot of good cameras to pick up on Hot Spring County where the strongest storms are. Let's look in Saline County. This is I-30 in Bryant. Not terribly heavy rainfall falling in Bryant right now. That heavy rain is approaching I-30. You can see that thunder or lightning in the distance. Can we bring it back to max 1, please? Thank you. So what we're looking at, you see Little Rock off to the top right-hand side of your screen, and then we're kind of looking along I-30. So this line of kind of heavy rainfall, where we are picking up on a bit of lightning, is approaching that I-30 line. Strongest part of this line is down here towards Bismarck in northwest Hot Spring County. This is a special weather statement down here. Somebody on YouTube said that hog needs to sit in the rain after losing to Memphis. Somebody's saying the rain is slacking off a little bit in West Little Rock, which is good news. No new information from the National Weather Service right now. No news is good news. Again, no active watches, no active mesoscale discussions. Our thunder and lightning situation isn't as strong closer to the metro anymore. It's just some heavy rain falling. What you're about to see me do is pull back up our 6-hour rainfall. I'm actually about to make a social media post to mention the fact that our flash flood warning has been expired. So shameless plug, if you don't already follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, my ad name is my name, Symone, S-Y-M-O-N-E, Thomas, W-X. W-X stands for weather. All right, let's put this back on our radar loop, our reflectivity loop. let's actually switch this to our satellite to look at what's happening to our west. So a couple flash flood warnings in southern Oklahoma, and again, these storms got to move east. They're gonna move into southern Arkansas. Aside from the heavy rainfall falling across the metro, things are quieter in regards to thunder and lightning. Some of Hot Spring County might be a little loud, but closer to the metro, Saline County, Pulaski County, still some lightning, but probably not as loud as our neighbors off to the west. We do still have some heavy rain moving through, but I think at 1:30 we're going to take a brief intermission in case we do have some more warnings fire up closer to 3. We won't be completely burned out by the time we get there. So put this on a wider view of the state. What's happening right now, mainly across central into southwestern Arkansas, we've got some non-severe showers and storms moving through that are producing some heavy rainfall. We've got that flood watching effect through Wednesday afternoon, but there's a flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro through 4:30. Our only active severe warning was for portions of Howard and Sevier County for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Otherwise, the storms at their strongest, our strongest storm right now in central Arkansas is what's in Hot Spring County. That was for 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and half-inch hail, which at this point still maintaining that half-inch hail. Winds, yeah, still teetering around 40, maybe even 50 mile an hour. But it's not super loud outside, so hopefully that calms some anxiety. We're gonna do one more loop to check any comments. Pebble-sized hail off Colonel Glenn in Little Rock. Yeah, doesn't appear though that we are picking up on a hail estimate. So could be some small hail, but we're not picking up on a hail estimate. Somebody asked about Bismarck. The special weather statement for Hot Spring County is through 1:45. So Bismarck, I would say through 1:45, about 20 minutes. I'll tell you what, let's keep the stream rolling through 1:45. However, I need to let the radar play and take a potty break. So we'll just keep rolling through 1:45 to at least allow that special weather statement to expire. But I need to let this play, and I'm going to run to the bathroom right quick if that's fine. Perry, do you mind taking my mic down? Okay, y'all, we're back. It's just myself and our director, Perry Black, here. So when the bladders call, we have to answer. My apologies on that. I know our neighbors in Hot Spring County near Bismarck is probably still loud for you. So my apologies if my brief intermission caused any anxiety, but y'all had to pee. So we're back now. Right now the plan is just to at least keep going through 145 because that is how long the special weather statement in Hot Spring County is set to go. Does sound like some heavy rain is falling here in downtown Little Rock. We've got pretty heavy rain falling across the Little Rock Metro. If you didn't hear, the National Weather Service extended that flash flood warning through 4:30 because we have more heavy rain moving through. Over the past couple of hours, we've already had between 1 to 2 inches fall. Another 1 to 2 inches could fall before we get to sunrise. In Saline County, central Saline County, still picking up on some heavy rain. That rain is closing in on I-30. So Bryant, Benton, you're about to start feeling some heavy rain soon. But it's really in Hot Spring County where it might be a little rowdier right now. Especially in Bismarck, you're probably picking up on some thunder and lightning. Now they issued that special weather statement about 25 minutes ago for half-inch hail and 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So let's check on what things are looking like down there right now. So in regards to hail is still pretty small. This is like right around Highway 84. Where we have what looks like that half-inch size hail. Those winds, still clocking those winds around 40, 50-ish miles an hour. So it hasn't strengthened to a point where we need a severe thunderstorm warning, but I could still see why they would keep the special weather statement. So the special weather statement is in effect for another 10 minutes. Again, this is the scene across central Arkansas. So we're going to give this enough time for at least the heavy rain to move through the capital city. The special weather statement, the storm producing that to get out of Bismarck, because this is where we have people still asking questions. But as we get to 145, if we don't have any new updates, I think we will call it a break then. I know I've said a couple times we're going to call it a break and then we extend it, but just trying to make sure I don't leave anybody with any questions unanswered before we take a little bit of a break. Does BB have anything to worry about other than maybe some heavy rain? No, that's really what the concern is for through the rest of the evening is heavy rain. But some of these storms have been producing a little bit of hail and some winds. That's why they've at least been issuing special weather statements, but no active severe watches or severe warnings, just the flood watch that'll stay in effect through tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, we're gonna give it to 145, and unless we get anything new from the National Weather Service, we will take a break then, because I mean at this point it's just heavy rain falling for a lot of people, but it's not particularly loud. And I think we can deal with that because I think most people are already asleep at this point. Again, if you haven't been following along the entire time, meteorologist Tracy Bean will be coming in at 3. I'll hang out here with her for a couple hours to allow her opportunity to get ready for the morning show. Morning show starts at 5, and we could possibly, be dealing with some storms still in the area between 3 and 5. Whether or not they're strong enough for any warnings, likelihood to be determined, but don't want her to get here and be left hanging by herself. So I'll be here in the building for a couple hours. And like I said, we'll get to 145. If we don't get any new special weather statements or warnings issued, we'll take a break then. But if anything develops before the morning show, we'll just hop back on. So that's the plan. 7 minutes. Time now is 1:38, so 7 minutes to 1:45. Um, the one warning we do have in southwestern Arkansas, that's also set to expire at 1:45. So yeah, I think unless anything changes, 1:45 will be a good pause time. I can refresh my cup of water and just sit here and watch for if anything progresses between 1:45 and 5 a.m. You know, fall equinox was Monday, so now that we're officially in fall, we're officially in our secondary severe weather season. You know, primary severe weather season is spring because we see a lot of clashing of that warm, moist air and the dry air left, the cool, dry air left behind in the winter. Now that we're getting into the fall, still left with a lot of that warm, moist air from summer. But as we get those fall cold fronts, we'll see the clash of the cold air and the hot air, which is why, you know, once we get into the fall months, we could often see bouts of severe weather that maybe aren't as necessarily coming in back to back like we see in the spring, but we get a little bit of an uptick in severe weather spells. So the new season brings forth new opportunities for these late night streams hanging out together, but we always appreciate the people that are willing to lose sleep to hang out with us. You don't necessarily have to, but some people just want to be informed that much. So we are grateful that when you want to be informed, you choose us to get your information from. The time now is 1:40. 5 minutes to 1:45, which is when our active warning in southwest Arkansas is set to expire, and the special weather statement in Hot Spring County is set to expire. No active watches in regards to severe weather. Our only active watch right now is the flood watch. Speaking of flooding, flash flood warning continues for the Little Rock Metro through 4:30. Somebody said thunder picking up between Jacksonville and Cabot. Yeah, you're probably hearing thunder from what's happening in Little Rock, but still more of a light rain towards Jacksonville and Cabot. Saline County, Benton and Bryant, you're probably getting some heavier rainfall. Haskell, Alexander probably picking up on some heavier rainfall, but it's not probably not as loud there as it is closer to Bismarck. Doesn't seem like we have any new comments on Facebook. No news is good news. No questions on YouTube. Time is 1:42. So we're just letting this heavy rain move through unless anything changes with these special weather statements. We're going to take a little bit of a break at 1:45. Hear a little bit of thunder in downtown Little Rock. Things aren't too bad though. No new mesoscale discussions or watches from the Storm Prediction Center. No new information from the National Weather Service either. So yeah, I think we'll be able to take this break at 1:45. So again, if y'all haven't been here long enough to hear the plan, we've been streaming since 10:45. Allow time for the severe thunderstorm watch to expire at 1. But because we had some neighbors in Hot Spring County with that special weather statement through 1:45, we were going to hang tight until that expires. Unless the National Weather Service issues anything else, we are going to take a break at 1:45. Meteorologist Tracy Bean will be here at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m., we probably could hear some more loud storms. So don't be surprised if you get the alert that we're back streaming at 3, but we're at least going to take a brief intermission from now to then. And if we don't have to come back on, that's great too. But the bottom line is I'll still be here in the building watching what's happening. So if anything noteworthy happens for us to get back on stream, we will. But in the meantime, we just got some heavy rain that's trying to get south of that I-30 line. A little bit of thunder and lightning, but we don't have anything strong enough right now for any warnings or special weather statements. Our only active watch is the flood watch through Wednesday afternoon, and we have the flash flood warning for the Little Rock Metro through 4:30. 10 seconds now till 1:45. I don't see any new questions. People are saying things are slowing down towards Bismarck, which is good news. So if anything changes, we'll check back in here through the next couple hours. In the meantime, y'all try to get some sleep. I know the kids have school, people have work. Y'all try to get some sleep. And if anything changes, leave that ringer on. You'll get those updates that we're back on streaming. Have a good night, y'all.